Welcome to another installment of the Robert and Crew Show with your hosts, Robert and Crew.
Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back to the Robert and Crew Show. All right, guys. So, as always, I'm Robert, your
And I'm Crew.
podcast host. We are doing part 2 of the Vatican tonight because when we were on stream last time, the storm kicked us out and we didn't get to finish our stream. It kind of upset Shaitan. He didn't want me to post the video, but I posted it anyways because we did way too much to not post that video. So I posted it anyways. We're doing part 2 tonight, guys. So I hope you enjoy it. Crew, you got something to say?
Yeah, so I do apologize for not being on the stream, everyone. I've been in a mood past couple of days because of the storm. Literally had no Wi-Fi. Hello, Julie.
Hey, Julie.
Or power at all. And I did just get our power back, so I'm happy about that. I've had a stressful day at work today, so if I seem a little irritated, I do apologize, but it's part of life, so.
Yeah, life comes, life goes, life starts, life stops. Life is life. And life sucks sometimes. You know what I mean? Sometimes you want to put that 22 to your head, and then other times you want to run around and cash all your money in like they're lottery winnings and go buy shit that you don't need. So, in all
And that's
reality,
true.
life is life and ain't nobody happy because we're all broke and poor while these billionaires like Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and all these other billionaires around the world
Sophie Rain.
all just sell us random shit that we don't fucking need, nor do we want. And then they throw their money in our face over and over and over again. I'll say the only exception for that is Elon. Elon really doesn't throw his money in our face. He just throws his rockets in our face.
Well, okay, so
He's like,
you've
I have enough
heard,
money to make a rocket, bitch.
Robert, you've heard of the Bob House, right? On TikTok, the Bob House?
Yeah.
Okay, so there are a bunch of bops who like to post a lot of content. Their house full of OnlyFans models who do TikTok. One of them does podcasts and a lot of OnlyFans and a lot of different crazy shit on TikTok. She's a drama starter.
Before you finish that thought,
Okay.
I actually found something very weird out the other day about OnlyFans. Did you know that only 75% of the women, or sorry, not 75, only 25% of the women on OnlyFans are real?
Yeah.
75% of OnlyFans is AI generated people.
Actually,
They're men.
hold that thought.
They're men
Hold that
making
thought.
money off of you.
You're right, but also one of the former OnlyFans models came out, right, on a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
She became a born again Christian, right?
Yeah.
She went from being a redhead to a blonde. And she literally said in the podcast that that OnlyFans is fake as fuck because most of the time you might not be talking to the actual model. You might be talking to
You're talking to a bot.
No.
Yeah.
You're talking to their boss pretending to be them.
Yeah. Yeah, their pimp, their boss, or a bot. Because the girls that know how to do it right, those men are never talking to that woman ever. Not one goddamn time are you talking to that woman. You're either talking to a man, or you're talking to a bot, or you're talking to a pimp. I don't know how else to put it here.
Now, if you want to talk to the actual woman, you have to pay for their exclusive account.
Even then, sometimes you don't get to talk to them.
That is true.
Even them.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
AI is out of whack, bro.
mhm,
I saw, dude, I'm not kidding when I tell you, I literally just watched a thing that showed all of these AI created girls that these people figured out how to program a certain AI model to only build like really gorgeous, beautiful, sexy women, right? Like
mhm.
the sexiest girl you've ever fucking seen in your life. It can
Mhm.
generate that. It can generate exactly what you want. And a lot of guys think alike, so they all go for the blue-haired, skinny Asian girl. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So that's not what I'm into, or I don't know if that's what you're
No,
into.
I'm
The
I
anime stuff, the anime stuff in like today's world is really
well,
big. So right now on OnlyFans, there's all these AI anime looking girls with blue or purple hair or whatever colorful hair. They're all AIs, bro, and they're all ran by dudes.
now
Every
okay. So we all know that I'm actually into redheads. We all know this.
right,
But if I'm going to be general about race and who I'm more attracted to, it's always going to be um the girls from Puerto Rico or Mexico or
Latinas.
South
You
American
like
girls.
Latinas?
Oh, I
You
love
like Latinas?
Latinas. Yeah, I love
Yeah,
Latinas.
Latinas. So
But
I've dated some Latina girls. They're cute.
oh yeah,
But
oh yeah,
in all reality though, with this OnlyFans stuff, man, 95% of the time, I'm gonna push it higher than what the statistics show. I'm gonna say 95% of the time, unless you're paying out buku bucks, you're never going to see this woman personally. You're never going to meet this woman personally. You're only going to see fake pictures of them or possibly real pictures if you get lucky, or real videos or whatever if you get lucky. And other than that, you're just wasting your money. It's
right.
one big scam.
But
In
okay,
my
but
opinion, it's only scam. It's not
yeah,
only
but
fans.
yeah, it's
It's
only
only
scam.
scams.
But back to the Bob House. Okay, so there's two founders. We got Sophie Rain and Aisha Sophie. They're they're cousins. Now,
Mhm.
um, one of the Bob House members did leave and started a new content house called the Asian House. Um, it's stupid ass drama like usual. You know how content houses are when they start drama. Um, but Sophie Rain talked to Camilla Arjo. Camilla Arjo, she's one of my favorite TikTokers. She's the one that does the podcast.
Yeah.
She was asking the Bops how much money they made, right?
Right.
Her assistant, who became one of the Bob House members, Julia Flippo, or however you say her last name, made $54,000 within a week.
Yeah, for sure. There's a couple people. There are a couple women who are actual women,
Mm-hmm.
okay, that have made over $1 million in less than a month.
And
Yeah.
Sophie Rain,
That's it.
the main founder of the who's dating NLE, the rapper.
Uh-huh.
Um, you've heard of NLE, right? He is also a TikTok creator.
NLE Choppa.
Yeah. Uh, she made over a month $4 million. She's the richest OnlyFans
Model.
model.
That's nutty.
Right. And she runs the Bob House. I'm like,
Just a second.
how
My cat is going ape shit. Give me one
oh
second.
I hate that when cats do that. But yeah, can you all believe that? Like $54,000 within a week, and then Sophie Rain, the main one of the main founders of the Bob House, made over $4 million. Like, what the fuck? I don't even know how I could survive off $4 million. Like, Robert, could you imagine having $4 million on you right then and there?
That'd be crazy. I've
Right.
never seen much money in my life, nor have I ever had that much money in my life. And the average person, they say the average person in their lifetime makes $2.5 million. We never get to see it. You
And
make it,
get this.
and it goes away.
Get this. Camilla Arjo, the one who does the podcast,
Uh huh.
she started out as Mr. Beast's assistant.
I believe it. Yeah.
She she was in the Squid Games video that Mr. Beast did.
Yeah.
That's how I came to know about her, and she's pretty cool. But anyways,
Yeah.
enough
I don't
on
really follow all that.
OnlyFans.
No, for real. But I don't really follow all that stuff with Mr. Beast. The only thing I really know about Mr. Beast for real is like he's an entrepreneur slash philanthropist. But I know that most of his videos are fraudulent. Most of them are
Yeah.
fake. But the cool one that they just did was they just went to the freaking pyramids of Giza, bro, and they're the only people who have filmed inside the pyramids of Giza, like
Hmm.
actually in the tombs and with permission, and filmed some places and went to some places in the pyramids that are off limits to the public. And they're the only people who have been underneath the Sphinx in like 50 years. It's absolutely insane. Like, and I actually did a video about that yesterday on one of the videos I viewed because I thought it was extremely interesting. But
Right.
yeah, so let's with the mention of the pyramids and all of this, let's get to the Vatican.
Yeah.
So we're doing part two. So where we left off basically was we got cut off in the middle of some videos. So tonight, Crew got his videos that he wanted to show. We got about 30 of them, 30 or so, because some of the videos were the exact same videos that I showed you guys on the last stream. And I know
Yeah.
they were in there. So um, if you have not yet watched The Vatican Part 1, go check that out right now. It's awesome. It got some good videos, got some good information. It's really cool. Um, I find the I find the entire subject about the Catholic Church and the Vatican and their secrets and their archives and what they could possibly have, that mystery is so intriguing to me. Like, how do you feel about the Vatican archives, man?
It's a big subject because there's so much down there, and it would take years and years, probably to lifetimes, to finish the entire archive.
It's they say it's like 500 miles basically. It's basically 500 miles of books
And
and
they don't even let
artifacts.
you. They don't even let you see every single book. You have to
Nope.
specifically request a certain
Yep.
topic
We
and a
found that out.
certain amount
We
of
found that out last
volume.
time.
Yeah, and like that's fucked up.
Yeah, no, you have to know the exact book that you want to read.
Mhm.
Which by the way, how do you know that it's in there if the Vatican won't release a list of books that they have for the public because the public isn't allowed to read any of the books. So
Right.
that makes no sense. So if you know that there's a book in the Vatican and you're like, "Hey, I want to see this book," and the Vatican actually does have said book, that would be insane. And they probably do have some crazy books. I've heard rumors, man, of extraterrestrials, like alien bodies being kept inside the Vatican archives. Like literally deep in the archives, they have like mummified aliens or something. Like I would love to see it. Like cuz in my opinion, it's probably not aliens. What I think it is, and take this in for a second guys, cuz I know a lot of you are going to be like you're crazy and then a whole bunch of other of you are going to be like that's exactly what it is. Angels. I believe the Vatican has angels, and they are being kept in basically a mummified state in the bottom of the archives, and they're the protectors. But the Vatican hasn't been doing very like their job in a very long time, so they had to seal them up because those angels would wreak havoc. But I don't know. It's all
Alleged.
bullshit. It's bad for you. It's all
It,
harmful conspiracy
yep.
theories. That's all it is. It's all harmful conspiracy theories. Why would you spread those harmful conspiracy theories? All right, guys, let's get into it. This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. No view in this podcast should be taken literal unless one of us says it is our personal opinion. But even so, it is only that, an opinion. I love that. It just looks like I'm so sad.
Right.
The Vatican harbors a terrifying secret: the preserved head of a nun, a relic hidden for over 300 years. In 1742, Sister Josephine Rosenthal inexplicably appeared pregnant, though she was a virgin. Tests confirmed her purity, branding her pregnancy a divine mystery. Tragically, Josephine died in childbirth, delivering a daughter, Maria Rosenthal. Maria was born a hermaphrodite, a condition that incited fear and revulsion among the clergy. Seen as a demonic being, she endured relentless torment from priests and nuns alike. The church leaders, driven by superstition and prejudice, devised a horrifying plan. Maria would be sacrificed at the age of 33, mimicking Christ's death, to shroud their cruelty in a guise of sanctity. Maria discovered their sinister plot and, in utter despair, took her own life. In a macabre ritual, her head was severed and embalmed in a box adorned with a cross. But death did not bring peace. Maria's spirit began to haunt the convent, her ghostly apparitions a chilling reminder of the horror she faced.
Is that where they got the inspiration for the nun?
I think
Is that
so.
where the inspiration for that movie came from? Like, so is that like the only
Probably.
do we know if that's a true story? Like, are we sure that's true? Like,
I mean,
I'm not
I've seen that specific box multiple times throughout the internet
right,
with that head, and I know it's a cursed box.
but it's the internet. Somebody could have made it up.
But here's the thing: that isn't that box with that severed
Mhm.
head
Yeah.
doesn't look AI generated.
No, I know, and it came out way before AI ever existed. That's the problem. And it doesn't look drawn either. It doesn't look drawn or painted. It
Right.
looks like it's literally a
So,
photo.
as of right now, I'm not saying alleged. I'm
It
gonna
looks like
not even debunk it because
bro, you know what it
that
looks like? It looks like a
what
fucking Polaroid picture. Like one of the original Polaroids, like back in the day when Polaroid came out with those fat cameras. Do you remember those when they were like this big? Back before like your first digital camera, you had these fat fucking Polaroids that you could just take pictures with and it would print out the picture for you.
Oh yeah.
And you do this whole thing or whatever to get the picture to come out. It looks like
Mhm.
the quality of that photo was taken by a really good Polaroid picture.
Oh yeah. And I
Yeah.
love Polaroid cameras. Those were legit.
Oh yeah, those were the shit back in the day, bro. I had
Oh
like 2
yeah.
or 3 Polaroids, and now Polaroid is selling a new camera, which is even funnier. It's here we go.
With Pope Francis just a few weeks away from his 88th birthday, there are those who are already plotting to decide who will be his successor. Timely then that just down the Tiber River from the Vatican at the Rome Film Festival, the film Conclave is a bit of a hit. In this film, manipulative, backstabbing cardinals throw their morality straight out the window as they try to decide who will be the Pope's successor. Conclaves are a centuries-old tradition in which cardinals are locked literally by key inside the Sistine Chapel and cast secret ballots to decide who will be the next pope. They are supposed to be guided by the Holy Spirit, but it is well known that a lot of backroom wheeling and dealing always goes on in conclaves. This thriller is a little bit too close to the real workings of the Vatican, and it might be a little bit too close to home, both literally and figuratively, for Pope Francis.
So they're all coming after him now because well, not coming after him, but they're all like waiting for him to die. Sorry, they're waiting for him to basically just wither away, and they're gonna basically have a bidding war on who gets to be pope. I thought they were
Pretty
supposed to
much.
choose. I thought they were supposed to choose in some ritualistic way and then burn white smoke.
That's what
And
I thought too. But they're
like I
all trying
didn't,
to see who's going to be the next successor as the new
bro,
pope. And
bro, what kind of crap is that? That's not what they used to do, is it?
I
Look
don't
that up
know.
real quick. Look that up. Look that up. Look how the new pope is chosen because I'm pretty sure it's ritualistically chosen with the smoke. That's weird, guys, because I have never heard of a bidding war to become pope, let alone a bidding war to become a religious person of any kind. Like that's straight up retarded. Like I've never heard of that before ever. You don't get to bid your way to to become top dog in the church. That was chosen. It was supposed to be like chosen by his holiness. I guess there's got to be a successor though. So like say the pope dies via heart attack in the middle of his the middle of his reign, somebody has to rule while the pope is being chosen, right?
Right. Okay. So here's how it goes. Here's a simplified breakdown of the process. So, okay. So before I get to that,
All
choosing
I
a new
want to know
pope.
is do they really get to bid for the
Well,
freaking pope? Like,
I'm going to explain that, but I'm going to read the general process so we all know.
oh,
Choosing a new
okay,
pope
go for it.
is a centuries old process steeped in tradition and intrigue. The process, known as a papal conclave, involves the College of Cardinals, a group of senior bishops from around the world gathering to elect the the next leader of the Catholic Church. Here's a simplified breakdown of the process. Death of the Pope. After the Pope's death is verified, the College of Cardinals is convoked by the Dean of the College of Cardinals. Cardinal electors. Only cardinals under the age of 80 are eligible to participate in the conclave. Currently, there are 139 cardinal electors, but 14 will turn 80 in 2025 and lose their right to vote.
14 of
Con-
them are going to turn 80.
mhm.
Oh my god,
Con-
those old bastards.
yeah, conclave location. The conclave takes place in the Sistine Chapel, where card where the cardinals are sequestered, I guess how you say the word, from the outside world. Voting process. The cardinals participate in a series of ballots, with each cardinal writing their chosen candidate's name on a ballot paper. A two-thirds majority is required to elect a new pope. Secrecy and
Yeah.
tradition. The conclave is shrouded in secrecy. With the cardinal sworn to secrecy, the process is guided by ancient traditions, including the destruction of the ring of the fisherman and the papal seal after the pope's death. Throughout history, the process of choosing a new
What was
pope,
the first thing you said? What was the
the
first
first
thing you said? Something man?
ring of fishermen.
What the heck is that?
I have no clue.
I'm gonna look that up. You continue. Continue.
Okay. The, throughout history, the process of choosing a new pope has been influenced by various factors, including politics, power struggles, and even violence. However, the modern process is designed to ensure the independence and integrity of the election.
Oh yeah, so it's an election. So it's just as corrupt as every other election.
Uh-huh.
Okay. The Ring of the Fisherman, also known as the Piscatory Ring or Annulus Piscatory, could Uh, it's basically the ring of the fisherman is a signet ring used by the Pope, the leader of the Catholic Church. It's named after Saint Peter, who was a fisherman before becoming an apostle, symbolizing the Pope's role as fisher of men. Each pope gets a unique ring crafted for his reign, typically made of gold or silver, sorry. And it bears this name in Latin. It bears his name in Latin, along with an image of Saint Peter casting a net. Historically, it was used to seal official documents while being placed in wax and then being pushed upon. So the ring would basically act as a letter sealer. So any letter that the Pope sent out or any official document that the Pope signed, he would put that ring in hot wax and hit it on that document and be like, verified by the Pope. Verified. But the ring is basically the ring is ceremonially destroyed to mark the end of his authority. So basically, when the Pope dies, the ring is destroyed.
Yep. And then a new ring comes into play.
So I kind of believe that like they said something about like 90% of them like choose the gold ring or whatever and not the silver.
Yeah.
So which makes sense because the gold is worth money. You know what I mean? Like why wouldn't you choose the gold?
Mm-hmm.
But my guess is they just melt that down and make a new ring.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? You wouldn't keep destroying gold.
Right.
Makes no sense.
Exactly.
All right, let's hit this next video.
We all know the Vatican does some shady ass shit and they're keeping some secrets, but they're also sitting in front of something that is sketchy as hell too. Because during his weekly audience, if it's too cold outside, the Pope sits in front of this statue. Let's get closer. The fuck is this? Because it's supposed to be Jesus or the Lord rising from the ashes of a nuclear explosion. I don't know. To me, that looks like skulls. I don't know what's going on with the head of it. It looks like a serpent almost. And then, hear me out. The building that this is in is also shaped like a serpent. Look, this is the outside of it. This building right here, okay? Looks like a snake's head, but could be brushed off as it's just a building, Keela. You're reading too much into it. But hold on. This is when you enter the building. You can see there's two snake eyes. And honestly, it looks like a tongue leading up to where that statue is. And then these guys' uniforms are fucking fire. I have a shit ton of questions about the Vatican. This is just one of them. Like the other one is, why do y'all have a telescope that used to be named Lucifer? And why do y'all even have a telescope in Arizona? But that's a whole other question.
That is demonic, man. That's fucking demonic. That snake, the snake building, man. Like, doesn't the serpent represent the devil?
Mm-hmm.
Why are they literally sitting inside of the devil? And then on top of that, they have that giant statue that literally is like, if you look at it, it's supposed to symbolize Jesus being reborn. But if you look at it, it looks more like it symbolizes good old Lucy being reborn, not Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
So it's very weird. The Catholic Church claims over and over and over and over again that that's just an art piece and it is Jesus. They insist that it is Jesus. So I don't know. I don't think it's Jesus. What are your thoughts on it?
I agree. I absolutely 100% agree.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Jesus, man. chronovisor footage. I want to believe so badly that the chronovisor is real. I really do. I want to believe so bad, just because even if the Vatican were to own something like the chronovisor and not tell the public and be able to look into the past and look into basically look into the so far into the past that they can look and see anything they want. They can go to any event, any absolutely anything that's happened in the past. They can use the chronovisor to go see. So supposedly they've seen the resurrection of Christ. Supposedly they saw the crucifixion of Christ. Supposedly they saw the world end, like the first time. Yeah, take that into perspective. The first time. I don't understand that. So Earth was created a second time? I don't know. I don't know. I can't tell you, but apparently the first time the world was created, it got pummeled by asteroids and exploded. And they have footage of that. And then the space wars. The space wars. That doesn't make very much sense to me, and I think that's fake. I'm just gonna tell you right now. I think the space wars was created by AI. I think somebody was like, "I'm going to put the AI in there and do that." And
Right.
then the other one, the one before that, that we were just talking about, not the space wars, but the well, what did I just say? The crucifixion and the resurrection. Both of those in the original Vatican documents that were released on the alleged chronovisor, both of those were talked about. They were completely talked about. Like the church acknowledged that the conspiracy theory that harms people and is horrible, that conspiracy theory, the alleged time period that people were worried about was, does the Vatican have footage from the chronovisor of the crucifixion or resurrection of Christ? And if they do, they should release it to the public because it would change the world for the better, basically. The Christian, everybody would believe. If you had proof of Jesus Christ, then everybody would believe. Absolutely everybody. You can't not believe at that point.
Yeah.
Everybody would go to Christianity immediately. Absolutely everybody would turn and go right to Christianity. It doesn't matter who you were. All of the Jews would go right to Christianity. And to tell you what, man, I grew up Jewish, and I'll tell you right now that like not all of the Jews will go right to Christianity. Some of the Jews will like be like, no, we're gonna stay Jews because we're God's chosen people.
Mhm.
And that's basically what we were taught in Sunday school was the Christians weren't God's chosen people, the Muslims weren't God's chosen people, the other races or whatever weren't God's chosen people, the Jews, for whatever reason, the Jews were the chosen people. I don't understand completely why the Jews are supposedly the chosen people, and quite honestly, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. First off, Jesus was not technically a Jew. He grew up Jewish, but he was not technically a Jew. He did Jewish practices for sure. He even celebrated Sabbath, but he was not a Jew. Jesus himself never claimed to be a Jew. Not once. Not one damn time.
No, he considered himself the son of God.
Yep. And
That's all he would say.
only the Son of God.
Yep.
So that's where it comes into. That's why I think the Jews had such a distaste for what Jesus told the people, what Jesus said. Hey, believe this because this is what's going on. And the Jews were like, but you're a part of us. And then Jesus would be like, no, I'm not. We're all children of God. Everybody is a child of God. Not just the Jews, not just the Romans, not just the Christians, everybody. Absolutely everybody. So it would be very interesting to know if the chronovisor was real and if that footage did exist it would be crazy to figure out which person got to actually use that time machine, and go back into time and see the resurrection and see the birth of Christ and see the crucifixion of Christ and see all of that. And you know, if the chronovisor is real, the Vatican went and did that. They most definitely did that.
This is scary. You ever heard about the prophecy of the popes? It's a 12th century prophecy hidden in the Vatican's archives. You know, the library that's said to contain the deepest secret of the world. It claims to list every pope from the year 1143 right up to, guess who? Pope Francis, our current pope. But here's the terrifying part. It just stops right there. No pope after him, only 2 words. Judgment Day. Yeah, it sounds dramatic, but it just started getting weird. Inside St. Paul's Basilica, there's a spot for every pope's portrait, circling the sanctuary. But the design leaves only one empty slot after Pope Francis. They say that when that final spot is filled, it's the end. Simple as that. Now here's where it twists. So, according to the prophecy, the time between the first pope listed and the midpoint pope in 1585 was 422 years. Now add another 422 years from there, and you land on 2027. Coincidence? Think again. And if that wasn't enough, Pope John the 23rd himself supposedly said the end would come exactly 2,000 years plus Christ's lifetime. Do the math. You get, 2027, that's 3 times. 3 predictions, all pointing to the same year. That's not just a random guess, that's a countdown, and it's ticking.
Did I not mention that last part on part 1 about that?
You probably did. You probably did. We didn't have that video in part 1 for sure, but you probably did mention that. And
but I did bring it up, so yeah.
Yeah. I think that's very odd. Like, for that time to be so precise, and then to say in 2027 the last spot is to be taken, and then after that is Judgment Day. Is after that is Jesus coming back? Is that what's supposed to happen after the last pope takes office? Or is something else more sinister going to happen? And is the church going to basically divulge itself, or fall apart within itself? And is somebody else going to take control of the Vatican?
Here's what I need you to understand. If you want a full understanding on how all that will come into play, read Revelations first.
Oh no, I've read Revelations.
Yeah, so
it's the only book in the Bible that I've read all the way through.
Right. So everything that happened in Revelations on how it goes in order is supposed to happen. So what he was saying will go into Judgment Day. So Jesus doesn't come right away.
Right. So Brandon Grover said, we got about 2 more years to go according to that video. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
You think is it actually a possibility? Do you think the Pope and this prophecy is legitimate?
I mean, we're in the end times, so anything's possible.
I mean, you say we're in the end times. I don't know if
I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one that said we're in the end times. There's so many people that even said we're in the end times. My mom even said it. I mean,
yeah.
Like, thing is, that's a big topic as of late.
Right. I don't know. It's a weird one. It's a weird one.
A lot of people do not know the Vatican made a contract. An actual contract was signed with the King of England back in the Middle Ages, where the Pope said that he declared himself the Vicar of Christ. The word vicar in Latin simply means someone who stands in for someone else. According to the Vatican concept that God created the whole heavens and he created the earth, he gave the earth to Jesus, his son, and so consequently Jesus owns the earth and everything on it. But since Jesus is not here right now, somebody has to run the earth. So consequently, the Pope is going to stand in for him till he gets here. A lot of people are totally unaware of this contract between Rome and the King of England to rule the world. And at that time, the people who were called English became known as British. British comes from a Hebrew word, berith. In Hebrew, the word berith is a contract or a covenant. And ish in Hebrew means man or men, can be singular or plural. Therefore, berith ish, contract man, or man of the contract, or British, the man of the contract. This is why in the Western world, anything you're going to do in business requires a contract. That's the way the Vatican set it up.
Sounds like the way the mafia works.
That's exactly right, to put a contract on you.
That's crazy to think about.
Oh, I mean, yeah, but it makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't know if I believe the whole like he's there to basically stand in for Jesus until Jesus comes back. But I do believe that they're just as corrupt as every other government.
Oh,
And
yeah.
if you're that corrupt, like you're going to want to make trades and make deals and make all of this stuff happen the way it's going to happen. And the Pope is a big player in that aspect.
This is scary. You ever heard about
One. Why is that on here twice?
The Vatican is the smallest country in the world, but it is absolutely a must visit at least once in your lifetime. The good news is that the Vatican is a very easy day trip if you are already in Rome. But don't be fooled, because even though this is an entirely different country than Italy, there is no actual border crossing here outside of going through this small little fence. There's three main things to do while you're at the Vatican. The first is to visit St. Peter's Square, which is where the Pope regularly holds Mass. The next is to actually visit inside St. Peter's Basilica. This is the largest church in the entire world, and the history here is incredible. This is where the popes are actually buried, including St. Peter, the first pope ever in the Catholic Church. Next up is to head over to the Vatican Museum, which arguably is one of the best museums in the entire world. Here you'll not only find historical artifacts, but you'll also see some of the most historical art, including the Raphael rooms, the Sistine Chapel, as well as Michelangelo's Hand of God. The Vatican is truly incredible, and I highly recommend a visit if you're ever in the area.
Bro, I gotta go.
Me too.
I gotta go. You gotta go with me. We gotta go to the
Oh
Vatican.
yeah. Yeah, we definitely do.
The Vatican is the smallest
That was actually a video that was supposed to be in the AI episode, and I don't know how it got in here. It seems that I accidentally inserted one video in there twice, and this video by accident. I'm sorry, guys. That is my bad.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, so Brandon over here says, I honestly believe the devil has tainted everything in this world, including religion. The Bible translations has been manipulated and changed over the years. I completely agree with you.
I do
And
too.
so does Crew. We've actually talked about this multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
The Bible has been taken and changed by man. The Bible was also written by man. So you have to understand that history is called his story for a reason. So, but I will say that some of the books of the Bible do match up with other books found around the world, all the way around the world. So, not all of those stories are fake because not every single race in humanity could have had the same stories, but they all did. So, that book has some sort of truth to it. And I also do believe that the devil walks amongst the earth in multiple different forms, in multiple different ways. Your urges are devilish sometimes.
Yep.
The way you act around other people sometimes can be devilish. That goes for all of us. The way we treat others can be devilish sometimes. And basically we have to understand that those urges and those things that we do that are not necessarily the greatest things for us, like vices and shit, that just takes us closer and closer and closer to those demons and to those devils, and they walk amongst us. They always have. You just can't see them. Our brains got turned off when we were little. Our parents told us that ghosts weren't real, and that when we got older, we stopped going to church, or we just decided that we didn't believe in a certain thing at a certain point in time, and our entire brains got shut off to that paranormal part of the world. And that same paranormal part of the brain reacts towards things like angelic energy and demonic energy, which are two very, very, very real things. What are your thoughts, crew?
I 100% agree with you on all that.
Okay. We're gonna hit
Within
this
the
video.
Maya and the Aztec, there's been estimates today by some researchers who have studied that we've lost 90+% of everything ancient in terms of writings and artifacts and describing their story from that region. They literally stole or burned everything. Do you know where they are? They still exist.
Where?
The Vatican.
How do we know that?
Because there have been whistleblowers that have talked about what's down there. I'm not going to name any names. Let's just say the library has an entire collection of Maya, Aztec, Egyptian, as well as ancient Sumerian tablets. When archaeologists and researchers look into when they conquered that region and then when they brought everything back, they discussed how it went back to Spain first.
How do we know that it ended up at the Vatican?
Because the Vatican was the head of the Catholic Church. The Vatican is the powerhouse behind why they went and conquered the Americas, because Spain was an empire.
It's always the Vatican. Brandon also says that myths and legends always have truth to them. You could not be more right. They always do. I believe that even like the Greek gods and like those myths all have truth to them. I believe that the Greek gods were probably the Anunnaki. Same thing with the Egyptian gods. They were probably either Nephilim or Anunnaki. I believe that the Nephilim and the Anunnaki both answer to the one true God. And I think the one true God is the one who created all of us. That may not be a guy up in the sky. You know what I mean? It might just be energy. It might be a universal energy. An energy that creates absolutely everything, good and evil. I think that is what runs us. And you have to have an equal balance of good and evil. Because if you don't, and you have too much evil, the world takes a horrible turn. And if you have too much good, then there's like, I know that sounds really dumb, that like you can't have too much good, but you can. There has to be a balance. We've seen it throughout history. There has to be a balance. The evil keeps the good in check, and the good keeps the evil in check. It's the same thing with your brain. Your thoughts can be good or evil. Your thoughts can keep you in check or they can push you out of line. That's why I believe our brains are literally like we have two paths. You can either go the demonic path or you can go the righteous path. And if you go the righteous path, you end up with Jesus. If you hold on to your vices and you constantly shame everybody, you're constantly negative towards everyone or constantly bitter, you've taken a bad route. You become an alcoholic, you take a bad route, you do drugs, you take a bad route, and you end up in the other place. Good and evil, man. You have to have balance. You have to. It's a weird one.
A rare look inside the Sistine Chapel. You are not allowed to do any videos inside or the gods will come and erase them from your phone. But we were a little sneaky. This place was amazing.
The Sistine Chapel, like I said before in the last Vatican part one that we did, I absolutely think the Sistine Chapel is so beautiful. It's one of the only places that I'm going to go to it. I have to go see the Vatican one time in my life just to visit the Sistine Chapel. It's the most beautiful piece of artwork ever created, in my opinion. What about you, crew?
I agree. I've been wanting to see it my entire life because how beautiful it is.
It's a crazy piece of art, man, and you know it took that man a long time to paint that. That's amazing. And you know they had to build special scaffolding for him so that he could lay on his back while up at the top of the chapel.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Chronovisor is a conspiracy that involves the Vatican. This man, who was a monk, Pellegrino Ernetti, he had this skill set restoring old chants, and he was working, heard his father's voice, and he's like, that sounds like my dad. This frequency that was coming in, like interrupting the chant. He heard his father talking about shining shoes. He's like, that is my father. He was a cobbler. It was like they're able to like tap into this whole past life. So that got Pellegrino to start doing research into what he called residual energy. He theorized that light and sound from past events continue to exist as forms of energy that could be detected. Whoa! He went back and there was this old Roman play, only a few fragments remained. He went back and was able to watch the whole play and write down the entire play. Dude. They went to the Pope with it, and the Pope said, you have to get rid of it. He said, this is way too dangerous. Supposedly, they dismantled it, but there's a lot of people theorizing that the Vatican still has it, they still use it, and potentially the CIA is involved in it too.
They would have to be. If that thing's real, the knowledge that they can gain with that.
Yeah. Yeah. The Vatican, if they have that, man, if they have the chronovisor, there's no telling what they can look at, what they can find, what they can see, what they can get away with, what they can predict, what they can tell us, what they can bring back to life. There's no telling. The chronovisor is an artifact that it's basically it's like the fountain of youth. Everybody wants that artifact. Everybody wants to visit that place. Crazy.
Horrifying audio tapes of her screaming. If you've been looking for a true crime documentary to watch, add this one to your list. It covers the disappearance of 15-year-old Emanuela Orlandi. In 1983, Emanuela never returned home from school. Her family, who lived in the Vatican serving under the Pope, started to receive strange phone calls about her disappearance. All these phone calls are recorded and they are eerie. Then they get a call from someone saying that they are holding her hostage and that they will release her once the man who tried to assassinate the Pope is released. But then all this stuff starts happening and we realize that that may not be true. Still don't know what happened to her. It could be many things like a serial killer or trafficking, but one thing they do believe is that the Vatican knows what happened to her. This documentary is so well done. It's filmed brilliantly, and it really makes you feel afraid. Let me know in the comments what you think about this one, and hit follow for more docs to watch.
Corruption.
Oh yeah.
That poor girl. You
Mhm.
know, there's no telling what happened to her. And if the Vatican had anything to do with it, they're not gonna say it. They're not gonna
Right.
come out. They're not gonna do that. We're never gonna know. We're never gonna know. That poor girl though.
Mhm.
I'm gonna have to watch that documentary.
The Vatican has kept Cain prisoner for centuries. The Vatican may have been hiding a disturbing truth. Cain, the first murderer in human history, is still alive and locked away deep within its crypts. According to leaked documents, his immortality is not a gift but a curse placed upon him by God, condemning him to wander the earth forever. However, the church managed to capture him centuries ago and now keeps him sealed away, hidden from the world. Secret records within the Vatican archives describe a being with a human-like appearance, yet with dark, piercing eyes and skin that never ages. It is said that Cain holds forbidden wisdom, knowledge about the origins of humanity, and the mystery of immortality itself. Priests and exorcists have attempted to communicate with him, but those who have seen him up close have either vanished or lost their sanity. But why does the church keep him imprisoned instead of destroying him? The answer is terrifying. His blood possesses unknown properties, and some believe his existence holds secrets that could shake the very foundations of faith. If this story is true, then Cain still waits in the shadows, a prisoner of a power beyond our understanding. But the real question is, how much longer can he be kept locked away, and what will happen when he finally escapes?
That one is a weird one.
Yeah. I found multiple of the same one of different videos, and I'm like, if I keep seeing the same video but in different but by different people, but they're doing it in a different type of video,
Mhm.
it makes me question, does the Vatican really do have Cain?
I don't know. Like that's a weird one because that would mean Cain was immortal.
Well, here's the thing. When he murdered his brother, right, Abel, he got marked.
Right.
Not mark of the beast, marked. And basically, he was sent away. And that mark basically cursed him.
Okay.
So it's a very, like, give me a second. I'm going to look it up real quick.
Yeah, look that up because that's a weird one. Like Cain and Abel, right? It was Cain and Abel.
Yeah.
And Cain killed Abel. God was like, all right, why would you kill your brother? So forth and so forth. And then damned Cain to walk the world forever, the earth forever, to roam the earth. I've never heard that part. Is that real? I've never heard that part.
It's in the
Guys
Bible.
watching, have any of y'all ever heard that Cain was damned to walk the earth for the rest of his days? That he was immortal?
Okay. The Mark of Cain is a biblical story that originates from the book of Genesis, chapter 4. Here's a brief summary. After Cain, the firstborn, son of Adam and Eve, murders his brother Abel, God confronts him about the sin. Cain tries to deny responsibility, but God sees through his deception the punishment. As punishment for his crime, God curses Cain, marking him a fugitive and a wanderer on the earth. However, to protect Cain from being killed by others, God puts a mark on him. Interperceptions of the mark.
I found it. I found the actual quote from Genesis that states it. It says, "When you work the ground, it shall no longer yield to you its strength. You shall be a fugitive of her and a wanderer on earth forever. That's Genesis, and that is Genesis 4:12 ESV. So God did apparently make Cain immortal, and
Yeah.
he is damned to walk the earth forever. He can't die, apparently, according to the story.
Right. So interperceptions of the mark. The Bible doesn't explicitly describe the nature of the mark of Cain. Over time, various interperceptions have emerged. Physical mark. Some believe it was a physical mark or sign, such as a scar, a tattoo, or a change in appearance. Spiritual mark. Others interpret it as a spiritual mark, indicating Cain's guilt, shame, or separation from God. Protection. Another view is that the mark served as a warning to others not to harm Cain rather than a physical or spiritual sign. Symbolism and legacy. The mark of Cain has become cultural symbol, often representing guilt and shame, a reminder of the consequences of sin and the weight of guilt, protection, and warning. A sign that serves as a warning to others, protecting the bearer from harm. Outcast and isolation, a mark that sets someone apart, making them an outcast or a wanderer. The story of the mark of Cain has been retold and interpreted in various forms of art, literature, and popular culture, continuing to captivate audience with its themes of sin, guilt, and redemption.
Okay. Yeah, so basically, I mean, from what I was reading, people interpret it in different ways, and supposedly Cain could still be alive, or Cain was just damned to walk the earth until he died. So like we don't really know, but if Cain was wandering around and he couldn't die, I bet the Vatican would snatch him up. I bet they would. They would totally snatch him up because that man would know everything about everything because he was around for all of it. That's an interesting one. Can't prove if it's real or not because you'll never know.
That is true.
Listen, in those Vatican 5 miles of underground Vatican archives.
Right. That's a lot.
There's been a few people that have come out talking who have had access to these Vatican archives. They can't say specifically everything they saw, but one guy did come on a documentary on History Channel years ago and talked about the fact that they had bones of beings that weren't human. From their perspective, they weren't human bodies. They had books and texts down there that nobody's ever been able to read or access that talk about technology, flying devices, and all these other incredible things that were hidden during the Inquisitions, because during the Inquisitions, they were suppressing technology heavy because they wanted to keep their boot on the necks of the people. The Inquisitions were so brutal, they killed over 80 million people over the course of 700 years, ordered underneath the popes. That really held us back because we should have been on the moon in the 1800s if it wasn't for the Inquisitions. That alone held us back from technological advancement.
Fucking Billy Carson. I don't believe anything Billy Carson says, but surprisingly enough, that doesn't sound too crazy. I bet if the church had information like that, they would totally keep it hidden because they don't want people to have that knowledge. For whatever reason, they don't want people to have that knowledge. No clue why. Do you know why they don't want you to have that knowledge?
Because they want it for themselves.
I mean, I guess, but that's a really crappy thing to do to people.
Yeah.
People don't realize how much knowledge is actually kept secret in the Vatican archives. 85 kilometers of shelf space, 35,000 volumes of catalogs, logging over 1,200 years worth of records. By 2018, it claimed to hold the equivalent of 180 terabytes of data, said to mainly store documents relating to the Pope, internal accounts of the Church, and other significant historic records. But up until 1881, no one but the Pope's inner circle was even allowed inside, so who knows what's really hidden down there. Even today, the secret archive is not accessible to the public, but only to certain scholars and under the most bizarrely specific conditions that you could imagine. First of all, any living pope needs to have been deceased for over 75 years before any documents collected during his time become available. Then, only academics who undergo a very thorough vetting process are allowed access, and also need to request special permission to anything they want to look at that can take months and may not always get granted. And even then, they wouldn't be able to just walk through and browse the archives to find what may be of interest. No, you need to specifically request the exact documents that you want to look at without ever stepping inside. Can you see how that might be an issue? 85 kilometers of shelf space. That's 2 marathons and would take the average person about 16 hours to fully walk through. Yet, they're required to request exactly the volumes they want to study from this monumental catalog without actually looking through it. And if we don't know certain volumes even exist, there's no way anyone can ask for it. Meaning, there is a lot of text down there that we will never know about. I'm not saying they're hiding secrets of, I don't know, Atlantis or the end of the world in these archives. Also not completely denying that they might be. But 35,000 volumes is an astronomical amount of information, and if they ever did want to keep something a secret, this would be the best place to hide it.
That's for show. That is definitely for show. That's the archives is the main place they're going to hide anything because nobody's allowed down there.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter who you are. Unless you're the freaking Pope, you're not allowed down there. The scholars that are allowed down there, they're only allowed down there a certain amount of times a year. And like you said, they have to know what they want to research. They have to request that. And then it can still get denied and take months. Dude, I know. That would be absolutely insane to hear that from Kane, to actually hear it come from him. How crazy would that be, dude?
Very crazy.
I don't even know, man. Like that would be some stories from that man that nobody else would ever be able to tell because nobody knows him, but he was alive for all of it.
It makes me wonder, like, what kind of stuff they have buried in those Vatican archives.
Oh man,
and
they
what
got
kind
so
of stuff
much.
is hidden from us.
Whew. Listen, in those 5 miles of underground Vatican archives.
Right, that's a lot.
There's been a few people that have come out talking.
3 artifacts from the Vatican Secret Archives. 1. Papal bull excommunicating Martin Luther. Pope Leo X demanded Luther recant his theses, but Luther burned the papal bull. So on January 3, 1521, a new bull was issued. It excommunicated Luther, bringing about the Protestant Reformation. 2. Notes on Galileo's trial. The astronomer was put on trial in 1633. The investigation was led by Pope Urban VIII. It found Galileo suspected of heresy. 3. Queen Christina's conversion letter. Christina was crowned Queen of Sweden in 1632. In 1654, she abdicated and renounced Lutheranism. Christina wrote a letter to the Pope. She informed him of her conversion to Catholicism. Then she moved to Rome. She's one of the few women to be buried at St. Peter's Basilica.
Interesting.
Right.
So he said one of the very few. So there's multiple women buried at St. Peter's Basilica?
Apparently.
Probably nuns, right? Probably.
Yeah.
History revealer here. The Vatican, home to religious secrets. But did you know, since the Middle Ages,
It was rumored to have housed a poison room. Of course, this has been the stuff of myths and conspiracy theories for centuries. The Vatican is alleged to have kept a secret chamber where all kinds of poisons and chemicals were studied. Some believe it was used to understand potential assassination methods, while others think it was for more scientific reasons. It is true that poison was a common method of assassination in certain historical periods, but any claims about a Vatican poison room fall more into the realm of fiction than established history. Why do these myths persist? Follow here for more and see the link in my bio. Thanks for watching.
A poison room. What do you think that was used for, crew?
Probably to understand the different types of poisons and how they work.
No, get off my stream. These freaking bots, man.
Right.
I hate the bots. The bots, the bots, the bots.
We don't want to buy views.
I don't want to buy views. I want people that are actually interested in watching my podcast. If you're a bot, get out of here.
The Vatican Necropolis. The word necropolis means city of the dead, and these macabre places can be found all over the world, usually beneath the modern-day city. So it should come as no real surprise that there is indeed a necropolis beneath the Vatican, because you know, the Vatican is located right in the heart of Rome, one of the most well-preserved cities of the ancient past, and they really loved a good necropolis back then.
Really, really nice. It's a very quiet experience.
This particular city of the dead is located beneath St. Peter's Basilica. It is the site of a massive historical significance and is the final resting place of a lot of popes. The burial ground itself dates all the way back to ancient Rome, but it would not be discovered until the 1940s when excavation work was being carried out in the area. It's full of all kinds of fancy sarcophagi, mausoleums, and a whole lot of artifacts from the ancient era, and in particular, relics of the papacy and the Catholic Church in Rome.
Brandon says they must have had a rat problem.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Must have had a rat problem. I bet they did. I bet they had rats. They all had rats because they're all little rats.
A month ago, I was talking about how the Vatican scares the absolute shit out of me, and so I started reading a real PDF document called The Secrets of the Vatican, and I'm going to tell you 5 things that the Vatican is hiding that no one knows about. I will warn you, some of these secrets are very eerie, and they actually will have you thinking about what's going on present day, as well as what is to come. So if you're someone who scares easily, just scroll. Secret number 1. The Bible actually contained 80 chapters, and now the Bible has 66. The Vatican actually took these missing chapters out of the Bible and they keep them. The name of these chapters in the Bible are actually quite mystical. Some of those books that were taken, there were 18, and now the remaining number of chapters is 66, which is weird in itself. But here are some of them that say, like, the Book of Giants, the Book of Psalms, and it said that some of these books actually contain myths of sirens, mermaids, giants, and things of that nature, which kind of makes sense of why they would take them out. And the Vatican has these, by the way. In what I think they said 1615, they actually removed these books from the Bible. This includes the missing chapter, the story of Bel and the Dragon, the Apostles' Creed, the Apocalypse of Abraham. Yeah, that freaks me out. Fact number 2, there were 3 children that were said to have seen the Virgin Mary, and the Virgin Mary bestowed upon them 3 secrets, one for each individual child. These are the children, Lucia, Francisco, and Jaquita. I don't really know how to say her name. I probably butchered it. But over the course of time, these secrets were kept private. Like, nobody knew what they were because the children didn't want to speak until one of them said that she was going to speak for all 3 of them. This lady, like, held on to these secrets until she released 2 secrets. One of those secrets was about her giving a depiction of hell, what hell looked like. And it's pretty eerie. I mean, you can go look it up, and she gives a very detailed description. And then the second one, which was before either one of these things happened, World War I and World War II, she said that God would call for a war on man, and he would end the World War I, but there will be another World War II if they didn't appease God. And sure enough, it happened. But what's kind of crazy is the third secret. The third secret of Fatima was kept quiet the longest. It wasn't until the Pope actually ordered her to tell him what the third secret was. And she did so by writing it on a letter and putting it in an envelope and sealing it with wax. And she told the Pope, do not open it until 1960. This third secret is the most controversial and still to this day is the most prominent because it was a premonition about what would happen in 20th and 21st century from Fatima. So I'm going to explain it more, but this is just a summary of all three. But the third one, which is the most prominent, it says that in the 20th century, it would be the persecution of Christians that would bring on the apocalypse. She said the 20th and the 21st century, there would be people in army gear that would start to kill Christians. Yeah. That's what she said she saw in her vision, and this would unappease God, and this would bring forth the apocalypse. The third secret is about aliens. In the archives, it is said that they have proof that aliens came and helped ancient Sumerians, as well as ancient people, create massive structures and even history of nuclear weapons back in Egyptian times. So if you have ever heard of the Anunnaki, they're real, and actual evidence of them exists in the Vatican archives that is like 38 meters underground. I have to do a part 2 with the other 2 facts, so stay tuned and I'll post that.
Dude, crazy. Brandon says one myth that God flooded the earth to kill the giants that roamed the earth. The Noah Ark story doesn't mention anything about giants. But maybe that's because the Vatican took it out.
Yeah.
And you have to understand too that Noah had dinosaurs on the ark. I said what I said. You don't have to believe me, but I 100% think Noah had dinosaurs on the ark.
Job came out way after Genesis, right? And dinosaurs are mentioned in the book of Job.
For sure. I think Noah had several dinosaurs aboard the ark. I also believe that they had 2 of every animal or whatever, because back then humans weren't as prominent yet, and we weren't destroying everything yet, so it was easy to like get animals. I don't know if God would be very happy with us right now, and the way that we have completely destroyed Mother Earth, completely taken out different species of animals, extincted them for no freaking reason. Destroy if the global elite tell us the truth, we're destroying the ozone layers. We're screwing stuff up. So basically it is crazy. The Noah Ark evidence, man, there is evidence. The ark could be real, and it might be real, and it may be on top of a mountain right now. So to be quite honest, Mount Sinai, which the location of Mount Sinai has changed a million times. Like it changes all the time. Like people don't know where Mount Sinai is. They don't know. But the rumor is, what alleged is that the ark, they found the ark on top of Mount Sinai, buried in the side of the mountain. And the reason they can't pull it out, because they tried. They were going to try to pull it out. The reason they didn't pull it out was because they were too worried about it falling apart. Like it just falling to pieces, completely being worth absolutely nothing anymore. And if you think about it, it makes sense, because if there was a giant flood, like they say there was, and we do have historical evidence in all different religions of a giant flood, multiple giant floods, by the way, not just one, multiple. We're talking like 2 or 3 multiple floods that completely took over the entire world, and everybody died. Great resets is what they call them. They're resets. We have the mud flood, we have the Noah flood, and then we have the famous the flood that killed the Nephilim, the Anunnaki flood, the flood of giants. Basically, is in the Book of Giants, the book that is taken out supposedly. This is all alleged. I don't know anything. I'm full of shit. But the book allegedly states that there was a giant flood that killed all of the giants, took them out of everything. There were no more giants. And it's weird. So like, does God just get a kick out of flooding the world? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, how do you feel about that, crew?
Sounds legit.
I mean, I wouldn't say it sounds legit, because honestly, I don't know what I'm talking about.
It makes more. I mean, legitly wise, it makes sense. Is what I mean.
It's all alleged. It's all rumors. But
Yeah.
yes, technically, the Bible itself is a rumor. Like, that's what people don't understand. Is we never met those people that wrote that book. Nobody met those people. Not a single person met those people. Not in the flesh and blood. There's people that have claimed to have met them in like spiritual realms, and like did some crazy wacky hallucinogenic and saw and met Jesus or something. But besides that, not all of these people, like most of these people have, if they've seen something spiritual, it's usually an angel or a demon. They don't see very many. Nobody's met St. Peter, to my knowledge. Nobody has had a legitimate like meeting with Jesus, not to my knowledge. I mean, there's been people that claim to have. I think Joseph Smith, right, from the Mormons, claimed to have met Jesus.
There was a 3-year-old boy who died and came back. Said he went to heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think I know this story, actually.
And it's called Heaven is for Real, the book.
Yeah.
And they made a movie about it. Now
we met Jesus.
Mm-hmm. And no, he didn't just meet Jesus. He met some of his dead family members.
Right, but the main part of the book was the fact that he met Jesus, and that, right? Wasn't that what it was? And that was like the whole reason, like Jesus told him it wasn't his time, and it was time for him to come back.
Yeah. And his father was asking him to point out the real picture of Jesus, right?
Uh-huh.
He pointed out a specific one. The specific one he pointed at was painted by a girl who got visions from Jesus. And she would paint. And she painted what he looked like. And he picked that one out of all the pictures.
Was he Middle Eastern?
He was olive skinned.
Yeah, he was. He has to be. That's the only way that I will believe that Jesus is real, and I do believe that Jesus is real because there's too many accounts of Jesus's death, okay? Not even just from the Bible. The Romans had accounts of Jesus's death. And a lot of people don't want to believe that, but we have historical proof of that. It supposedly burned down in the Library of Alexandria, which is not true. That's all where is the Library of Alexandria now? What are we talking about? Where is the Library of Alexandria allegedly?
Does it exist?
It's
Supposedly,
in the
it's in the Vatican.
It's in the Vatican.
Mhm.
The Vatican allegedly the harmful conspiracy theory that hurts people is the Vatican burned down the Library of Alexandria on purpose. But before they burned down the building, before the bishops or the cardinals or whoever it was, because they don't believe it was like the Pope or something. They believe it was like the Pope wouldn't have done that. He would have sat in Rome or whatever and done his thing, and then he would have sent people to go do the dirty work or whatever. Allegedly, this is all a conspiracy theory that is harmful, that hurts people. But basically, the Pope sent these people to the Library of Alexandria, and they burned it down, but not before they took absolutely everything, absolutely everything. And that's why the Vatican archives, that's why the Vatican library is so fucking big, because it is the Library of Alexandria. It is every single piece of history known to man to date, possibly even future and like super past history, like before the Bible history.
I'm sending you the picture real quick, so give me a moment.
That's cool. That's cool, Brennan. Yeah, burned down. Isn't it funny how all of these isn't it funny how all of these concrete buildings and buildings made out of marble caught fire? Have you ever thought about that? Isn't that like a crazy thing to think about? All of these buildings that were marble and concrete, no wood, nothing flammable, they burned down. Make it make sense. That's exactly what they did. That's supposedly what they did. Brandon, it's all alleged. It's all a harmful conspiracy theory that hurts people.
I sent you the picture.
Okay. But basically, man, like allegedly the Pope sent people to the library to gather evidence, and the rumor that's alleged that there's no proof. We're never gonna know if it's true, and the Vatican ain't never gonna tell you. They're never gonna tell you anything like this. But basically, they confiscated the entire Library of Alexandria. That's how the story goes. The freaking Vatican came in and confiscated the entire fucking library, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It's so crazy.
But yeah, look at the picture and
Yeah.
tell me that doesn't look Middle Eastern.
Let's see, guys. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like that looks like a that looks like a Middle Eastern, probably like Arabic or Jewish man. And this is supposedly the real Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, the phone went dark. That's supposedly the real Jesus. Crazy. That is a real photo, guys. Like, I'm looking at it, it's real. It's a lady that is painting this picture, and she was blind.
A little girl, and she wasn't blind.
She was blind.
No,
she wasn't blind.
Mm-mm.
I thought you said she was blind
No,
in the
no,
beginning of it.
no. She
Okay,
she
so she
got
wasn't
visions. She got visions, and that
got
was one vision
visions.
she
That's
got.
why I thought you said she was fucking blind, because you said she got visions. She got visions. Okay. Did you want to know a crazy fact, bro? Want to know a crazy fact that I just learned today?
What?
Did you know that telepathy is real?
Yeah.
No, like they actually like the CIA documents that got declassified a while ago actually proved that certain autistic children, usually kids that are so autistic that they're nonverbal, they don't talk, they experience things sometimes in the house where the parents hear the children talking to them in their heads, and the children know that they can do this. And the CIA, supposedly the CIA, now this is all alleged, harmful conspiracy theory that can hurt you. The CIA supposedly went in, allegedly went in to these different homes of these different people with these autistic children that supposedly were telepathic.
Right.
And they found out that these children in most cases were 100% telepathic. They were not like, they couldn't move objects with their minds, but they could talk to their parents or get messages to their parents via telepathy or even sometimes visions. And there was one girl that knew what her parent, like she could write down what her parents were going to say before they said it. And that's how they proved that she knew, that she just already knew that she was that connected with her parents. So telepathy, man, I think it's real. I think it's real, man. And apparently there's a documentary out there or a movie or something. It's called The Telepathy Tapes. Apparently it's also really good and it validates a lot of what I'm saying. So if you get the chance, go check out the Telepathy Tapes.
Okay.
Let's go on to the next video.
Their associations and activities during that dark period. Number 9. Satan's Spellbook. Within the Vatican's extensive collection of secret archives resides a mysterious book they've kept locked away, the Grand Grimoire. It is allegedly one of the most dangerous spell books in human history. Written around 1520, its author is a shadowy figure known as Honorius of Thebes, whose existence remains a mysterious topic. Legend has it that Honorius may have been possessed by Satan himself, adding to the scary aura surrounding this book. The Grand Grimoire, also known as the Red Dragon, is said to have been discovered in King Solomon's tomb back in 1750. It's considered among the most potent occult books globally, with instructions on crafting magical talismans, amulets, and spells that promise lottery wins. It even contains methods for contacting the spirits of the dead and communing with demons. However, the most sinister aspect of this historic tome is in the instructions for summoning Lucifer, the devil, along with procedures for making pacts with him. Among its various versions circulating, experts believe that many are either forged or altered, rendering their spells ineffective. Yet believers in the occult maintain that even these modified versions hold some form of power and influence. The genuine manuscript, however, is reportedly held exclusively by the Catholic Church, and it
Of course it is, because why wouldn't the Vatican have it?
Right.
That's basically what I think now. If something is that important to like religion or to the world, the The Vatican probably has it, and it's probably down in the archives. But we'll never know. We'll never know.
Right.
There's a hidden office in the Vatican that deals with the most serious spiritual crimes, sins so grave, only the Pope can forgive them. Welcome to the secretive world of the Apostolic Penitentiary. The Apostolic Penitentiary is one of the oldest and most mysterious offices in the Catholic Church. Founded in the 12th century, it's responsible for granting absolution for what are known as reserved sins. These are offenses so serious they require special permission from the Pope to be forgiven. We're talking about sins like desecrating holy objects, violating the confessional seal, or attempting to assassinate the Pope. Regular confession won't cut it for these. This is where the Apostolic Penitentiary steps in. The process is shrouded in secrecy. A priest or bishop refers a case to the Apostolic Penitentiary, and from there, it's handled privately. The major penitentiary, a cardinal appointed by the Pope, reviews these cases and decides whether to grant forgiveness on behalf of the Pope himself. What's fascinating is that the identity of the sinner is usually kept anonymous even from the Pope. It's the ultimate tribunal of conscience. Over the centuries, the Apostolic Penitentiary has handled some of the Church's most closely guarded secrets. While the world has seen reforms and modern changes, this office has maintained its veil of mystery. Even today, the Apostolic Penitentiary remains hidden from public view. Few know how many cases pass through its doors, or what kind of sins are being absolved. What happens in these halls stays between the sinner, the Church, and God. In a time when transparency is the norm, the Apostolic Penitentiary stands as one of the last true secrets of the Vatican. Its role hasn't diminished. In fact, in a world full of moral complexities, its authority over the gravest of sins remains as important as ever. It's a reminder that in the Catholic Church, some matters are considered too spiritually dangerous for regular channels. The Apostolic Penitentiary is where the most serious issues are quietly resolved, far from the public eye. So, the next time you think about Vatican secrets, remember this hidden tribunal. It's where the Church's most serious spiritual sins go to be forgiven. Want to uncover more Vatican mysteries? Like, follow, and comment for more deep dives.
So I just got the notification from YouTube saying that our video's banned in some countries.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's banned in Rome.
9 dark secrets the Vatican doesn't want you to know. 3 secrets of Fatima. Although the Vatican may look like a simple religious organization from the outside, but there are a lot more mystical than people realize. The first secret unveiled by Lucia in her memoir is a vision of hell. Whereas the second secret had to do with World War I and World War II. Documentation hidden within the archives is known to be the most controversial third secret of Fatima. Back on May 13, 1917, out of 3 children from Portugal who received prophecies, was the one witnessed by thousands of people. Supposedly the suppression of the third secret rumors is fueled by that its contents were regarding an atomic holocaust, natural disasters, and so on. However, the release of the contents of this secret in 2000 did not do much to quell speculation. Extraterrestrials. This secret of the Vatican is just controversial and has no evidence, though it was said that aliens or evidence of alien life forms, such as extraterrestrial skulls in the Vatican. Not only this, but archives in the Vatican contains evidence that the Pope is conspiring with aliens to implant us all with computer chips. Sounds creepy. The Antichrist. Reverend Gabriel Amorth, who was 85 years old, was the chief exorcist in the Vatican in 2010. Surprisingly, he had a history of treating over 70,000 cases of demonic possession. Gabriel Amorth had a small office on the 3rd floor of Vatican City, where he operated as a very real exorcist for 25 long years. Eventually, in an interview with the Italian newspaper, Gabriel defended his work and without hesitation admitted that he believed the devil is a pure and invincible spirit of evil. He also told that the devil can speak many languages, he can transform himself at will, and he can stay hidden when necessary. The very fact that the Vatican had sanctioned over 70,000 exorcisms is pretty astonishing. UFO over Vatican City. Back in 2007, a mysterious disk was spotted hovering over the Vatican City. People who saw the bizarre sighting described it as a silver, orange glowing saucer in broad daylight which was hovering over the dome of St. Peter's Basilica. Astonishingly, it was photographed and all mentioned that it disappeared. In no time the incident caught the attention of citizens around the world, and it is said that the UFO visiting the Vatican was out of everyone's memory suddenly. However, that doesn't change the fact that it happened. Later all the researchers and experts tried to figure out the mystery and what it wanted. But still, there is no evidence that it was an alien spaceship. It was like there was something strange in the sky that day, but nobody has any possible way of knowing if it truly came from outer space. But the question lies, are the Vatican really in contact with aliens? Scandals of the Vatican Bank. Also known as the Institute for the Works of Religion, IOR, the bank has been involved in several scandals. Among the numerous scandals, the most controversial one is their dealing with Adolf Gerald Bosner. A historian even points out that the Vatican received church tax from Adolf every year. Moreover, a substantial said amount was paid to the bank, so that it cannot be tracked by other Western banks. The year was used to store billions of dollars, and the details of which were never disclosed publicly. Jesus Christ. Among several other conspiracies, there is one in which theorists believe that archives contain correspondence between Emperor Nero and St. Paul pertaining to Jesus' existence and his biological descendants. However, some theorists also believe the Vatican may be hiding evidence that Jesus did not exist. The Apostolic Penitentiary. It is a secret tribunal that investigates the so-called heinous offense of individuals. The Apostolic Penitentiary was supposedly found in 1179 and was kept secret until 2009. Apparently, only the Pope can grant absolution to people brought to this tribunal. Examples of sins include attempting to assassinate the Pope, a priest exposing the sin or identity of a person who has confessed to them, and so on. However, the Pope acted as the head of this tribunal, which is called the Major Penitentiary, and can either offer absolution or let the automatic excommunication stand. It is home to a time machine. Although there is no record of such a device, some people believe it is hidden somewhere in the archives. It is believed to have been built by an Italian scientist and priest, Father Pellegrino Maria Ernetti. The chronovisor is a device that apparently allows people to view the future and past. Just imagine what if it turns out to be true. Missing Book of Bible. Strangely, in the year 1684, the Vatican removed 14 books from the Bible. Till the time there is no exact explanation as to why this act was performed. Initially, in 1611 it was said that there were 80 books in the Bible when it was translated from Latin to English. The missing books are known as the Apocrypha, which in Greek means hidden. What is perhaps even more surprising is that Jesus' name was spelled Lysis before these 14 books were removed. But the question lies as to why were the mysterious books removed. However, there are numerous theories where some say the contents of the book didn't fit in the Roman Catholic Church and so they were simply taken out. Whereas some believe they made the Bible too long and confusing, so they were removed. Eventually, there is no real reason for the elimination.
It just sounds like they're hiding stuff. That's what's happening. They're hiding shit because they don't want you to know the true story, and there's no other reason to remove those books. They admit to removing the books. They're hiding that stuff.
Yep.
By the way, Brandon says that this is why I believe the devil's influences are a part of today's religion. The Pope and the Catholic religion contradict itself way too much in today's world. He also said, is it Satan or aliens that influence today's religion? Maybe it's both.
He has a point.
So aliens, man, were they created by God?
Yeah.
Are we sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, because like aliens could make or break religion.
Mm-hmm.
Some religions don't want to ever acknowledge the fact that aliens exist because that would prove their God wrong, as where other religions would gladly accept aliens because that would just mean their God had a higher reach, could make other planets with other life forms. It's interesting.
Yeah.
This is the truth about what's actually hidden under the Vatican archives. The Library of Alexandria was one of the largest and most significant libraries in the ancient world. But the burning was actually a false flag attack, and what was burned was actually tax and census documents. All the important documents about human history were actually taken to the Vatican archive. It can only be accessed by 75-year-old scholars that are housed in a fortress-like part of the Vatican after. A device known as the chronovisor was created and allowed people to see events in the past or the future. Shortly after its creation, it was dismantled and deemed as way too powerful for any one person or group to have. It worked by processing electromagnetic radiation from past events and turning it into visual images or audio. Is this what Jesus really looked like? It was built by scientists such as Enrico Fermi and Werner von Braun. A document known as the Grand Grimoire is also hidden in the Vatican archives. It's a medieval book claimed to have immense powers. It was written in the 16th century by Honorius of Thebes, who claimed to have been possessed by the devil himself. It even has instructions on how to summon the devil and even make deals with him. In 1998, elongated skulls were found under the Vatican. The Vatican has kept all evidence of aliens a secret as to not discredit Christianity.
Yeah, the Catholic Church, specifically the Vatican, is hiding some stuff. They got aliens, man. I need to know if they got aliens, and I need to know now.
Right.
That's like a thing I need to know. Like, if the Vatican has aliens, it is their civil duty to release that information because it's 2025 and I deserve disclosure. So, Catholic Church, please give me that disclosure. I know I've talked a lot of shit tonight, Catholic Church, but I need that disclosure if you got any more of that.
For the first time today, the Vatican put on public display bone fragments believed to be the remains of St. Peter.
Deep under the Vatican's grand halls lies a tomb that remained untouched for nearly 2,000 years. For centuries, historians could only guess what secrets it held. When it was finally opened, what they found inside wasn't just surprising, it changed everything. But that's just where the story begins. We're about to explore empty graves connected to chilling mysteries, secret escape tunnels used during dangerous times, and hidden chambers that tell stories of scandal and betrayal. These discoveries will leave you stunned. Let's get started.
The Vatican has opened up 2 tombs inside a tiny cemetery in the hopes of solving a 36-year-old disappearance of a teenage girl.
1. The Tomb of St. Peter.
And at the Vatican, a first for the faithful. Bones believed to be those of St. Peter, displayed publicly for the first time.
Beneath the Grand St. Peter's Basilica lies a story that stretches back nearly 2,000 years. Simon, who later became known as Peter, was one of Jesus' 12 apostles. He's often called the rock upon which the Christian church was built. His journey of faith eventually led him to Rome, where he was martyred under Emperor Nero and buried in a simple grave. But this was no ordinary burial. Peter's tomb became a cornerstone of Christian history, cloaked in centuries of mystery and speculation. Everything changed on December 23, 1950. During his Christmas message, Pope Pius X announced something extraordinary. St. Peter's tomb had been found. Archaeologists working beneath the papal altar of confession unearthed the remains of a 67-year-old man from the 1st century. The discovery sparked debates, yet the Vatican stood firm, declaring these were the bones of St. Peter. The excitement didn't stop there. In 2002, archaeologists discovered another marble sarcophagus inscribed Paulo Apostolo Mart. By 2009, carbon dating confirmed it belonged to the Apostle Paul, weaving another layer into this ancient tale. But finding Peter's tomb wasn't an easy journey. In 1939, a cave collapse near St. Peter's altar revealed an ancient Roman burial ground, triggering years of secret excavations. Researchers uncovered pagan tombs, Christian symbols, and a red-painted wall of cryptic clues. Margherita Guarducci, a well-known archaeologist, found inscriptions that seemed to say, "Near Peter," and "Peter is here." Despite years of controversies and debates, Pope Francis restored Peter's remains to their rightful place in 2013. But as incredible as this discovery was, it led to another shocking reveal from the Vatican. The next dig didn't just find old artifacts, it brought back a case full of mystery.
Why would they leave me hanging like that?
Right.
You're gonna say a mystery and then cut the video off? So
Yeah.
fudging convenient there, buddy.
Right.
But Brandon says, we exist, our planet exists, therefore other life forms and planets like ours have to exist in the solar systems. I say the same
Facts.
thing.
Yeah,
I
definitely say the same thing.
And that's the same thing that, that actually, like, Einstein said the same thing. Stephen Hawking claimed the same thing. And JFK famously said, if we believe we're the only life forms in the universe, then we're all dumb sons of bitches.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally what JFK said. He said that if men believe we are the only life forms in the universe, that we're basically just stupid. So makes sense to me.
The photo negative is the positive image. Secondly, the shroud contains three-dimensional information, and so we were able to reproduce a statue of this man, the cadaver as it laid in the tomb, based on information in a two-dimensional cloth. That is unlike any other document in the history of the world. But then there's more than that. Look at all the sufferings of this man. He is shown to be crucified. There are nail wounds in the hands, in the feet. He's wearing a crown of thorns. He's also been scourged and pierced in the side. That's at least 4 different types of very specific pathologies that converge on the person of Jesus, who we read about in the historical documents of the Gospels. So that's important information. Especially important is the crown of thorns, right? Because we don't know of any other crucified man who was crowned, and yet the man of the shroud was.
So are they claiming that they have Jesus's body?
Supposedly.
I don't understand that. Was that a different guy entirely? Or was that supposed to be Jesus?
I don't know.
You been to the Vatican?
No.
It's wild.
Yeah?
Vatican's confusing. Yeah, because there's so much shit there. I knew that there was an immense amount of artwork there, but when you actually go there and you see the billions and billions of dollars worth of art that was accumulated over who knows how many hundreds, if not thousands of years, it's pretty shocking.
Yeah.
It's like a raiders horde. I mean,
Right.
that's really what it is.
Well, yeah.
They clearly stole all this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have it all in one spot. And that one spot is also its own country, which is
Yeah.
weird. It's its own country inside Italy, so it has its own extradition laws, which is great because it happens to be overrun with pedophiles.
Yes, this is
Yeah,
true.
It's pretty fucked.
Oh my god.
The fact that Joe Rogan called them pedophiles is great.
Bro, and he's straight up on there, he straight up said that that they stole everything, and they did. They stole everything. That's so funny. Joe, you make me laugh.
Vatican City in Rome is the world's smallest sovereign state.
The whole of the Vatican and the Catholic Church is full of secrets because of what it's done over the last 2,000 years.
What's really hidden behind the Vatican's heavily guarded doors?
No bodies were found, not even the remains of those who were supposed to be buried in the tombs.
For centuries, rumors have swirled about the secret vaults, locked away from public view and shrouded in mystery.
The Vatican archives, whenever they're going to be opened, are going to reveal extraordinary levels of detail.
It was something actual, something tangible, something energetic.
But now the vaults have finally been opened, and what was uncovered will leave you stunned.
Un famoso codice della Bibbia.
It's a famous Bible codex, the entire Bible in Greek, from the middle of the 4th century.
Ancient texts, forbidden artifacts, and stories that could rewrite history. Join us as we look at the secrets that will make you question everything you think you know. Number 11, Yo-Yo Winged Mystery. The story of the Vatican and its supposed angel in captivity is a tale lost in time. Yes, an actual angel. There are rumors of a winged being kept somewhere in the bowels of the Vatican's secret archives.
You have to wonder if the secret library at the Vatican, which they acknowledge exists.
Conspiracy theorists imagine a dimly lit chamber where a bound, captured angel sits, guarded by shadowy priests. No one has seen this angel firsthand, but there are whispers of a strange creature that was caught. Not all angels in the Vatican are flesh and blood, or whatever angels are made of, so none of them are human.
Well answered well, Suleiman, but I have yet to truly test your wisdom.
One is very real and stony, but this one is linked to a scandal that still haunts the Vatican. Emanuela Orlandi, a 15-year-old, went missing on June 22, 1983, and this story begins with her. Near the Piazza Navona in Rome, she was on her way back to Vatican City, where she lived with family. She never saw her father again, who was a high-ranking Vatican employee. Emanuela was last spotted at around 7:30 p.m., waiting at a bus stop. She was supposed to catch a bus and be home within minutes, but she never did. Her disappearance 40 years ago was one of Italy's most haunting mysteries. Was she kidnapped by someone in the Vatican police who allegedly recruited young girls for secret and sinister parties? Some compare these theories to the darkest whispers about Epstein's Island, but within the sacred walls of Vatican City. Others suspect organized crime, a Cold War-era plot involving the KGB, or even a serial killer. In 2018, the Orlandi family's lawyer received an anonymous letter pointing to a new lead, a grave in the Vatican's Teutonic Cemetery. The letter included a photograph of an angel statue with the cryptic message, "Search where the angel looks." The angel statue marked the tombs of two noblewomen, Princess Sophie and Duchess Charlotte Frederica. On July 11, 2019, the graves were exhumed, but what was found shocked everyone. They were completely empty. Not only was there no sign of Emanuela, but the bones of the two women supposedly buried there were gone too.
No bodies were found, not even the remains of those who were supposed to be buried in the tomb.
Then, things took an even stranger turn. Beneath the empty graves, workers uncovered a hidden chamber sealed in reinforced concrete. It wasn't old. It had clearly been built more recently. Whatever had been inside it was long gone by the time it was discovered. Someone had removed the princess's remains, built this secret room, and then cleared it out before anyone could get there. But here's where the intrigue deepens. Early in 2023, leaked WhatsApp messages surfaced, allegedly between two cardinals close to Pope Francis. The messages hinted at an object that had been moved before the tombs were opened, a deliberate effort to hide whatever secrets the chamber once held. The Orlandi family refused to name these cardinals, likely because their identities were too sensitive or too dangerous to reveal. Was this...
Well, that's very interesting, for sure.
Right.
And that girl, I'm gonna have to watch the documentary because they keep talking about that girl that that disappeared, and it could have been like either mafia work or the freaking work of the Vatican City itself. It's so weird, man.
On your screens is the most mysterious place in the world, the Vatican Library. But what's so special about it? The shelves in this archive are 85 kilometers long. It would take the average person about 20 hours without rest to go through them. Just think how many secrets are kept there, and mere mortals have no access to these secret archives. The Vatican in general rarely gives anyone to study these archives, and if they do, then a limited part. But recently, one anonymous user on the Reddit forum started to assure that he has access to part of the archive, and just look what he started to post. For example, such books written in Hebrew mixed with unknown language, or this mysterious book with strange drawings. But the most interesting thing, he posted this video, which clearly shows that he takes a key and opens a cache. It contains a camera and old photos of the Pope and strange inventions. But more surprising is the photo of the cross, which also appeared in the box, as it seems that this cross is passed from one Pope to another.
Fucking creepy.
Right.
And the chronovisor footage before that of the Earth exploding, like, oh my god, like that's what I'm talking about. Like, if the chronovisor is real and those things like happen, that is utterly insane. The chronovisor, like that stuff, completely intrigues the hell out of me. It says he's not. Brandon says he's not wrong, and he's got to go to bed, and that we should have a good night. All right, man. Good night, Brandon. Have a good night.
Yeah, have a good night, man.
All right, guys. It's come to that time of the podcast. We got 3 videos left, and then we're going to be calling it a night ourselves. We hope that you've enjoyed this podcast. We hope that you've liked it. It's one of our longest podcasts we've ever done yet, and it's just 2 hours. So it's a little bit longer than we usually do. We usually have casts that go for about an hour and 20 to an hour and 40 minutes. But this has been such an interesting topic to go over, and such a lot of stuff to go over, that, you know, it takes more than just a couple of hours to cover the Vatican. It took us like 3.5 hours to cover the Vatican. So that's why. And also our power went out. Crew, you got anything to say?
Well, this has been an amazing 2-parter so far, and we might do more than 2 parts. Who knows? Because this is a big topic that me and Robert like to cover a lot.
The Vatican's creepy, weird, and cool all at the same time, man. I love the artwork. I love the statues. I love all of that. I love the conspiracy, but I also hate the not knowing. I want the Vatican to tell me everything and let me in the library. You need to let me into archives right now, Vatican. I want to read all the books. That's what I'm asking for. I want all the books. This coronavirus stuff is crazy. I know that there's a good chance that some of these videos, these coronavirus videos, or at least they're AI, but that video looked really good. Like, I don't know what
Mhm.
it was. Like, the sound quality was terrible. I hate when people add those, like, that unnecessary, grainy footage, like, sound in the background because you really don't have that. The video itself should be silent.
Right.
What is the Vatican keeping secret?
For their entire time that they've existed, they've collected manuscripts and relics and items, not only for their own research and to support their ideas, but also to prevent anything coming out. Because they need to control the information around biblical issues, they can't allow alternative views to become public. They've got 52 miles of shelving of books and manuscripts alone. So that will be everything from early first century fragments to potentially entire alternative gospels. There's a potential for alternative views to emerge. There were lots of different books originally that were set to go in the Bible, and it was only through a process of politics mainly that the final books were chosen. You'd expect an archive to be a public record that's made available, but because there's the potential for controversial material, you're not allowed access. They have potentially tens of thousands of documents that are still uncatalogued. So there could be documents they've got no idea of the importance of that they've got stored.
And is it just documents?
There's definitely relics. We know that from the Holy Land, certain items were returned, some quite extreme items. The foreskin of Christ is one of them that's said to be in the Vatican. Even the umbilical cord was supposed to have been kept.
Bro, I literally talked about that yesterday, about how crazy of a
Right.
conspiracy theory that is, that the Vatican
Yeah.
has Christ's foreskin. They have
Mhm.
his circumcision, they have his, taquito pocket. Yeah, they like, what? That's such a weird one. Well, guys,
Yeah.
here we go. This is the last video. We hope you
Vatican
enjoy it.
Audience Hall is part of some reptilian conspiracy?
Oh, absolutely. Let me lay it out for you. The very design of that audience hall, it's not just a coincidence. It's right there in front of your eyes. The shape, the architecture, all of it. You think it's just a beautiful hall, right? Number, it's a serpent's mouth. And that's where it starts getting good. We're not talking about random symbolism here. We're talking about a deliberate design meant to reflect their true nature. The global elite manipulating the masses, speaking to us through that serpentine smile. They're not even hiding it. The truth is buried in the archives, right there in the Vatican. But who's looking? Certainly not the masses they've hypnotized.
But if it's that obvious, why aren't people questioning this?
Why indeed? You see, that's the brilliance of their design. Decades of narrative control have convinced people not to see what's right in front of their eyes. They've built this illusion so perfectly, so arrogantly, that even when you're staring at a literal reptilian structure, you just nod along, clap politely, and move on. And anyone who dares to challenge it, they're instantly silenced, discredited, brushed aside as lunatics. It's a system built to keep you right where they want you. But the red pill moment, it's right here. Once you see the serpent, you can't unsee it. That's the power they fear the most. So, why is the design a proof of control? Due to the fact that so few have noticed? That's just more proof of how deep this manipulation goes. It's time people wake up and see it for what it is.
Wake up.
Right.
All right, guys, that's it for tonight. We hope you enjoyed the Robert and Crew podcast. As always, if you did, like, share, follow, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube and Twitch. It is both under the Robert and Crew Show or the Rob and Crew Show on both Twitch and YouTube. On X, we also have the Rob and Crew at X. That's our new X platform. And then we have, as always, our original Facebook and YouTube. So if you guys check those out for us and subscribe to there and share it with your friends and with your families that like conspiracy theories, podcasts, and with the people around you that enjoy mysticism and Vatican secrets and craziness. That's all we do here. We just go over the crazy conspiracy theories. Ain't that right, crew?
Definitely.
Yeah, we talk about a lot of other random stuff too. So if that's your kind of thing and you like randomness and conspiracy and all that, tune in. We do a podcast almost every night. We'll let you know prior on Facebook and on X if we're not going to be doing one that night. But anyways, we love y'all. Peace, love, good night.
Welcome to another installment of the Robert and Crew Show with your hosts, Robert and Crew.